everybody, welcome to your favorite show, Shin and Box. Welcome all you shiny shins to today's greatest video, patch 14.5 patch notes. Now, these will be going live tomorrow. By the time you watch this video, it might very well be live. So what's in this patch? Well, it's probably a patch. We have nerfs to Bel'Veth, Brand, Evelynn, Maokai, Nidalee, Senna, Twisted Fate, Vayne, Yorick, and Zac. We have buffs to Jarvan, Kayn, Kog'Maw, Rek'Sai, Siver, Veigar, Vex, and Wukong. Adjusting Seraphine, it's a nerf, and Smolder, and then some other stuff here. Okay, so there's a bunch of thing in this patch. There's a couple changes that seem to be missing, and I'm pretty sure they're missing. In the past, though, okay, with Aurelion Sol, I assumed there had to be a patch note missing. And again, you can go back. I keep bringing this up, but I was so confused when I was reading it. I assumed there had to be a patch note missing, and I said, oh, there had to be something here. But this time around, I think they literally just forgot to list some changes. They literally just didn't put it in the patch note. The quality of these patches lately has been going down significantly, both in the actual decisions being made and the fact that they literally keep typoing and missing notes and doing things wrong. And it just, something's going on at Riot. I don't know what's going on, but well, let's get through it. Okay, so first up, we have Bel'Veth. Now, Bel'Veth's passive is being changed. Instead of getting 3 stacks from epic monsters, she now gets 2. They state specifically, she gets 6 if she gets every Void Grub. She used to get 9. Then her Royal Maelstrom damage is being changed from 42 to 70% to 35 to 55%. Unfortunately, Riot is lying here, and I'm assuming this is like a weird thing to like save face or something. I'm not really sure. At either rate, they're kind of lying. They're saying, basically, they're kind of mentioning this Death and Lavender thing, and they're kind of mentioning Royal Maelstrom. But the thing that made Bel'Veth overpowered wasn't Void Grubs or anything like that. If you actually look back on it, Bel'Veth had a 50% win rate in 14.1. In 14.2, it was only up to 51% win rate. It was 14.3 where it jumped up to 52%, and 14.4 where it jumped up to 52%. Again, the problem is, on 14.3, that's when they did the Kraken Slayer changes, which massively benefited Bel'Veth. She saw massive benefits from that, okay? And so I kind of dislike how they're, it's like I don't know, just the phrasing is like, guys, it was the Void Grubs that made her overpowered. Like, she wasn't really overperforming that hard on the first 2 patches. It was when Kraken Slayer got adjusted, okay? Anyway, so Royal Maelstrom's damage reduction is down from 42 to 70% to 35 to 55%. That's, what is it? 7% less at rank 1, but 15% less at rank 5. So rank 5 Royal Maelstrom will no longer give that 70% damage reduction. It will only be 55%, so focusing and destroying Bel'Veth should hopefully be a little bit more viable. And hopefully she shouldn't be able to just use Royal Maelstrom as a kill move that automatically beats every other assassin. Brand is getting nerfed. Apparently Brand jungle is good and Brand lane is bad. So his ultimate is being nerfed. Instead of 100 to 300, it's 100 to 250. So his scaling on the ultimate damage is going down. Then the cooldown on his ultimate's going up a little bit. He's got like the weirdest ult cooldown. It was 105 to 75. Now it's going to be 110 to 90, which is a bit more normal. But his damage to monsters from his passive is going up. So basically, Brand's ultimate's going down in damage, going up in cooldown, but his passive will do more damage to monsters because for some reason Riot just really wants to push Brand to be a jungler. Don't ask me. I don't make the rules. I just read you the patch notes. It doesn't make sense to me either. I mean, it's great, Brand jungle. I love fighting it so much. I mean, I don't actually enjoy fighting any junglers. Talking about junglers that I hate fighting, I can't even see her. Okay, so anyway, Evelynn's been overpowered for like 19 years now. Riot has finally apparently noticed. 19 years later, they're like, wait a minute. Evelynn's Q AP ratio is getting a nerf. So hopefully this makes her scale a little bit less, and you know, I don't think it's going to be like a colossal mega nerf, but it definitely should hit down her ability to, like, especially against tankier champions, she can literally just hate spike, wait, hate spike, and then ult and you're dead, right? Because like hate spike does so much damage. Hopefully this gives tankier champions a little bit more opportunity to fight back. This is probably not going to affect squishy champions. Squishy champions are still going to get 2-shot, but tankier champions should hopefully have at least a little bit of time before they die. Okay. Jarvan. So shockingly, Jarvan is not overpowered without Spiros Ocean. I don't think Jarvan was really that overpowered. Go back, guys. I'm actually fairly consistent on this. Some people say that I'm not consistent, but I'm actually fairly consistent on all this stuff, okay? I didn't really think Jarvan was that overpowered. In fact, I thought he was pretty much within acceptable realms, right? I didn't really think it was that big a deal. Because if we go back and we look at his patch notes, once they nerfed the health ratio on his passive, he wasn't really that big a deal. Once they did this nerf to his Q cooldown, they brought it from 10 to 6 to 10 to 8, which they're now reverting. It's going to go back down to 10 to 6 from 10 to 8. But anyway, I didn't really think it was that overpowered, so I didn't really agree with this change at all. And in fact, you can see that Riot is kind of agreeing with me here, because they're going further and even buffing his armor per level. So, definitely, I don't really think that Jarvan was a big issue, and he got nerfed really hard. Spiros Ocean got changed, and just to be clear, even though here's the problem. Both Jarvan's Q and his E were being balanced on the Spiros Ocean reduced ability haste. For those who don't know, Spiros Ocean used to give reduced ability haste to abilities that had CC on them. Both Jarvan's E and his Q had that reduced ability haste. There was almost no way that the Spiros Ocean change was a nerf to Jarvan. Instead, what we're seeing here is Jarvan was weak and now they're buffing him back up. Because there's absolutely no way. Basically, Spiros Ocean used to give about 30 ability haste to his Q and E, and now Spiros Ocean gives about 35 ability haste to his Q and E. So the problem is, actually, he would have gotten stronger. In fact, not weaker, he would have gotten stronger after that Spiros Ocean change. But unfortunately, Bruiser items as a whole are weak as hell right now, and Jarvan was, as we can see this right here, before... Here's 13.24. We can see Jarvan wasn't even doing good. He, his win rate was down to 49% after they did that weird nerf to him. So anyway, armor growth is going up. Cooldown on his Q is going down. Okay. Kayn Rhaast. Basically, Red Kayn Rhaast is being really buffed. They're calling it Red Kayn here. But it's actually Rhaast. Anyway, Rhaast. The healing from his passive is going from 25 to 25, but also it now scales on bonus HP. That's right. When you play Rhaast and you build bonus HP, you will now heal for more. In addition to that, Umbral Trespass has 65% of damage dealt to 75% of damage dealt on its healing. Okay. Now remember, this is pre-mitigation, so this is actually a pretty significant buff, especially because I believe... don't quote me on this. Don't go down in the comments and quote me on this. But I believe that Kayn can still like stay inside someone until healing debuffs are like they wear out, and then he can leave his ult and get the full healing. So definitely one of the things with Rhaast was that he stayed like in a Cho'Gath until the healing debuff wore out. Then he left his ult, and then he would heal like 3 billion HP and be at full health. So, at other rate, basically what we're going to be looking at here is they're trying to push Bruiser on Rhaast. One of the issues is lethality items are replacing Bruiser items slowly. There's 2 or 3 Bruiser items that are still doing good, depending on what champion you are. There's Sundered Sky is doing good, Eclipse is doing okay, and Spiros Ocean is, like, acceptable. But outside of those 3 items, there's basically not a single Bruiser item which is actually doing well. Steric's Gauge is eh. And so the problem here, and the problem is that like Rhaast is currently building lethality and they want him to be building Bruiser. So He now scales his healing. The more health he builds, the more he'll heal. I imagine how this is gonna go, to be blunt. I imagine how this is gonna go is maybe he'll do like 2-3 lethality items and then a Spear of Sojin, maybe something like that. I don't know. Anyway, Coggies is getting buffed. Yay. That's not yay. It's boo. Boo, Kog'Maw. Boo. Boo. What an annoying champion. It's like Kog'Maw is like the worst designed AD carry in the game because all he can do is right click people and he doesn't really have anything he can do. So all he does is he just right clicks people and sprints after them, and if he can kill them, good, and if he can't kill them, bad. I mean, he just sort of plays in the back of the fight. He has no like individuality, let's call it that. He can't do anything for himself. He just relies entirely on his team to put people in front of him to kill. Anyway, fairly significant buffs here, which is not good. The movement speed in his passive is going up. Instead of 0 to 40%, it's going to be 10 to 50%. Yay, when he dies, Kog'Maw will now be stronger. His Q is getting a cast time reduction. Instead of being a flat 0.25 seconds, it will now get reduced with your attack frame data, which, in other words, I'm going to dumb this down for you guys. Basically, what Riot is saying is, instead of a flat cast time, it now goes down with attack speed. Does everybody get that? Okay. Void Ooze is also being buffed. Instead of a 30 to 50% slow, it's 40 to 60%. Okay. And then Living Artillery is having its bonus AD ratio buffed. Great. Awesome. I love Kog'Maw. Really fun champion. It sure would suck if they were to buff Kog'Maw and the champion that he most perfectly synergizes with bot lane in the same batch. It sure would suck if they did both of those in the same batch. Anyway, let's move on to Maokai. Freak got Grandmaster spamming Maokai, so now he's nerfing Maokai. Great. How much is he nerfing him? 5 reduced movement speed. The cooldown on his W increased by 1 second. And then the damage to monsters on his Q is being increased, presumably to let him jungle a little bit more. Okay, so here's a problem, and it's something that I just wanna talk about here real quick. Hold on, this website's like breaking because I had it too small. A little bit of a problem here. Maokai is not, oh man, he's a little bit OP. Maokai is like giga fucking mega ultra super double busted. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. I play Maokai every time I'm autofilled. He is like absurdly overpowered. I'm saying like absurdly overpowered, like insane overpowered. 5 less movement speed and 1 second increase on his W is not going to make this champion balanced. Maokai's support as of right now is absurd, like actually insane. When I play Maokai support, I literally just dash around getting free kills for my team. Like, it's stupid. This champion is just game-breakingly busted right now. Nidalee is also pretty goddamn overpowered. Okay. So, Nidalee is getting 5 less movement speed, and then her Q takedown, that's her melee Q, is having its damage to marked targets or hunted targets reduced from 40% down to 30%. So that's a pretty decent reduction. It's a pretty decent reduction to her Q damage and some movement speed, which, you know, helps. Yeah, I mean, if you look into it, Riot buffed Nidalee when she was already really good, and now she's like crazy omega busted. It's kind of funny to me that Riot is not nearly nerfing these giga busted champions. Like, I think Maokai might even lose like 2% win rate. Ooh, he's at 54% as the most picked support. Like, holy shit, Riot. Nidalee is currently also really giga busted. I mean, this might help, but okay, you know. I definitely fear we're gonna be back on Maokai again because Riot doesn't want to give him an actual nerf. I wonder why that is. And Nidalee is getting like a tap down. I mean, it'll hurt her, but you know, I think it might clear or slow down her jungle speed, so I don't know. Okay. Rek'Sai is getting a lot of work. Like, a lot of work. Which ones of these patch notes are actually important? Which ones of these matter? Okay, so I'll try to find the ones that matter and I'll read them. All these other ones are kind of like... her attack frames are going to be better. Her Q will feel smoother, you know, all that stuff. So that just generally all these words now mean Rek'Sai is going to feel better. Her attacks will feel better. Okay. What are the actual buffs? I mean, attack, like making a champion feel better can definitely be a buff. I agree. And she will probably get win rate on that, because simply not canceling your attacks or having to spend less time in attack helps you chase better, which is definitely a good thing. So don't get me wrong. Like, these are good changes. Well, I mean, good is, I guess, subjective, but these are buffs. Let's put it that way. These will increase her power. Okay. But the actual numbers buffs are down here. The amount of damage her E does is going from 6 to 14% to 8 to 14%. That's 2% more in the early game. Then the monster cap is also going up in the early game. So basically, early game Rek'Sai will do more damage. Then her ultimate is also getting a pretty significant buff here as well. 50 more base damage at all ranks. And then the missing HP is going from 20 to 30% to 25 to 35%. So more HP damage and more base damage. Okay. Senna is currently obliterating the game with, oh my god, she is so broken. I'm not even joking. Senna, like, kind of sticks out. Like, there's two champions here who kind of stick out like sore thumbs. Fortunately, being extremely overpowered in everything she does, Rhaast has decided she will get nerfed. The AD ratio on her Q is going from 50% to 40%. That'll teach her. Stop being so broken, Senna. We're gonna be back here again. Has Senna been in every single patch note ever made? I swear to God, she has been. All Riot does, like, dude, I'm gonna get like, I don't even know, dude. I'm gonna get like, I don't know. I'm so tired of reading this champion, dude. Just every patch, Senna. In fact, hold on. I'm going to do a little bit right now because I'm so tired of seeing this champion in every patch note. Let's see. She was in 13.24, 13.22, 13.18, 13.4, 13.3, 13.1b, 12.24, sorry, 12.23, 12.12, 12.11, 12.10, 12.10 again, 12.4, 12.3, 12.2, 11.20, 11.17, 11.15, 11.11, 11.5, 11.2, 10.23, 10.19, 10.12, 10.11, 10.8, 10.6, 10.3. Huh. Could we just nerf her into the ground and then just forget about her? Because, like, serious question right now. Is that an option? Is there an option where we just nerf Senna into the ground and then forget she exists? I would prefer that option at this point, because if this champion is playable, all she does is she takes over the game, dominates everyone, and we all laugh and we go, ha 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 ha. And I go, no, this isn't funny. It sucks to fight. Okay, Seraphine. I read through this earlier. I'm going to try to read you the gist of it so you guys don't have to read this. You know, I'm a good video maker. Okay, I do reviews and I teach you guys all you need to know without spending 50 minutes on it. Okay. So, Seraphine. Freak doesn't like how Seraphine bot is being played. It sure does suck when champions go into your role and start dominating that role. It sure does suck here when champions go into your role and start dominating it. You know, champions who aren't maybe specifically meant to go into your role start going into it and dominating it. Freak, that sure must suck. Freak. But anyway, Freak has decided that Seraphine needs a complete rework. I actually looked this up the other day because I was curious. He is a very, very informed Seraphine player who definitely knows what he's doing with this champion. I actually looked this up, and I don't mean to be mean to Freak, but like, oh my god, for a dude who wants to completely obliterate Seraphine where she's been, and I do remind you guys, okay, I'm not Seraphine released, she was supposed to be a mid laner. Okay, then they nerfed her out of mid and pushed her to bot. Then they nerfed her out of bot and pushed her to support. Then they nerfed her out of support and they pushed her to bot. Now they're saying we want to nerf her out of bot and push her into support. For a dude who, and a company, really, who doesn't really seem to understand Seraphine, who doesn't really seem to understand what's going on with this champion and what they want to do with them, boy, they sure did put a lot of time putting in 3 games of Seraphine. Yes, that's 3. Man, those Maokai nerfs sure were light. I wonder why that is. Yes, I'm being very petty. Okay, so what's going on with Seraphine? Her movement speed is up. Her mana is way down. Her mana regen is up. Her base AD is way down. Okay, her base AD is going down by 5. Her Q will, or sorry, her passive will no longer have bonus minion damage, making last hitting on her harder. And the base damage on her passive is nerfed, and the scaling on her passive is nerfed. Oh, okay. Her Q will be slightly faster travel time, but the cooldown is going down at rank 5. I should say the cooldown is going up at rank 5, down at rank 1. So I guess putting 1 point in Q will be better. The mana cost on her Q is going up at rank 5, down at rank 1. The damage on her Q is going up by 5. Yay! The amount of damage her Q will do is going up from 50% bonus damage to 60% bonus damage to low health enemies. The damage amp no longer affects non-champions, so you can no longer amp your Q damage against Dragon or Baron or minions or anything like that. Her W, her surround sound, the cooldown is going from 28 to 16 to 22 to 18. The mana cost is going down, the shield base is going up, and then the Seraphine bonus movement speed is losing half its AP ratio from 4% to 2%. Okay. Then her E, the cooldown is being changed from a flat 10 to 11 to 9. Then the mana cost on her E is going to flat 60. Then the damage on her E is going up 10 at rank 1, down 10 at rank 5. The AP ratio is going from 35% to 50%. Then the duration on her E is going from 1.25 to 1 to 1 to 1.25. Dude, am I crazy? Isn't this just reverting a lot of the stuff they did before? Am I going insane? I swear to God, I've seen this before. Hold on. Wait. Hold on 1 second. I'm looking this up because I'm legitimately curious. Looks like they half did this. The cooldown was 11 to 9. They changed it to 10. So they're reverting this from there's 2 seasons ago. The duration disable was flat. Now they're making it scaling. Did it used to scale earlier? I can't remember. Oh, it used to do reduced minion damage, and then they changed it to do full minion damage. Okay, brilliant. So, is Seraphine the new Rise? We used to complain about Rise getting a rework every season, but is Seraphine replacing that? Because I think she's actually gotten a rework every single season, right? Cool. Then her ultimate, her R, Encore! The AP ratio is going down from 60 to 40, and the cooldown is going up from 160 to 100 to 160 to 120. Okay. So there you go. I don't know what to make of this. Seems like a lot of nothing. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure how this makes support Seraphine better. This just seems to be making Seraphine worse. I don't know how this makes, like, the only thing you can say is your E will go from a 1.25 to a 1.5 if you max it, I guess. I mean, I guess that's it. You max her E. I don't know. I don't know what Ride's doing here. It's very confusing. I'm gonna move on with my life. I'm not gonna spend this much time on Seraphine. Ride clearly doesn't care, so whatever. Siver, base stats. Base armor from 26 to 30. Siver gets 4 more base armor. Yay. Oh god, now we have to do the Smolder. Dude, I feel like all I do is look at reworks for new champions. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go look this up because now I'm starting to get really curious. Okay, of all the new champions, let's look at this. Okay, so far, let's look at this. Okay, Smolder is getting a rework. It's been like 3 weeks. Of all these other champions, okay, so K'Sante got a rework. Nyla got a small mini rework. Bel'Veth got a Bel'Veth's being like changed a lot. Renata reworked her revive. Zeri has been like in 17 reworks. Let's see here. Gwen got a mini rework. Viego got a mini rework. Rel got a biggie rework. Seraphine is now on our 19th rework. I feel like when like half of their new champions are being reworked, at this point, I feel like there needs to be a legitimate consideration before they release the champions. Things like, can we build this AD carry tanky? Does this mid champion feel better in support? Does this support champion feel better in mid? You know, I feel like these are just like general things you should do, right? Because it keeps happening, doesn't it? So many AD carries keep building tanky. So many support champions keep going mid. So many mid champions keep going support, right? And I feel like it's definitely reaching a point, in my opinion, where like, you know, maybe you're not releasing your best quality work anymore. Anyways, Smolder is receiving a rework. Okay. So instead of 6.5% true damage on his passive, Smolder is now receiving scaling % health true damage. That's right. Scaling % health true damage. Scaling, that's right. That's right. Health true damage. What do we say to scaling % health true damage?
Raise up the skirmisher profile. Raise up the DPS profile. Assassin, so longer champion. It's going to require you to cycle more of your quad. W combo is getting simply it's a with
hold on, I'm gonna
R plus amount of burn the entire life, and it meant in the game. Do 3 into full channel. R is gonna things and actually
hold on
lower.
I'm gonna look this up because I'm gonna show it again.
But that's meaningful. That is a change. That has an impact. It's incredibly proud that people found their way around.
What are they doing here? Is this later? I think it was actually later. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it because it's really funny. Trust me.
Also, dealing about 10% around through a wall require abilities to escape the deep.
Hold on.
Passed by the health 3 damage, then scales with his bonus armor MR, and so we get to the point where it's like, oh, this champion literally.
I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna go back.
3 damage, then scales with his bonus armor MR.
Damage at scales with his bonus armor and MR.
It's like, oh, this champion literally has scaling % health true damage.
They have scaling % health true damage? I can't believe it, freak from a few months ago. That would be a terrible thing to have scaling % health true damage, freak from a few months ago.
Not even Vayne has that.
Not even Vayne has that. I mean, she does, because the more she attacks, the more true damage she does. But not even Vayne has that, freak. You're right.
She can get her attack speed up, sure, but like, she can't increase the number.
Yeah, increasing the number of your % health damage would be bad.
K'Sante does. That's probably a little bit illegal.
It's probably a little bit illegal if you can scale your % health true damage up. I'm gonna. So anyway, Smolder can now directly increase the number on his scaling % health true damage. It did not take 5 months, chat. It did not take 5 months for them to break this rule. We did it. We did it. So anyway, Smolder's scaling % health true damage now scales on AP and his Dragon Patient stacks. And AD. Wait, no. What? Okay, it's 2% bonus AD plus 1% AP plus 0.8% Dragon Patient stacks. So I think this might be a little bit illegal because he can increase the number of his scaling % health true damage. His scaling % health true damage. Shame. Riot, be consistent on any design philosophy challenge. Okay, so his flap is also, I'm gonna say, kind of being buffed. The amount of times he would shoot in flap went up based on his crit. But as we've seen, Smolder often doesn't build crit. So I guess now they're making it so he now gets more attacks based on Dragon Patience stacks, not based on the amount of crit he has. Which is whatever, I guess. I don't really know. Just a riotism, I suppose. Yeah, no, you definitely, Smolder should be using his gap closer into enemies. Every time my Ezreal gap closers into the Darius in order to do damage with his E, every time my Ezreal does that, I'm so happy. And I'm gonna be so happy every time my flap Smolder gap closers into the goddamn Garen because Freak told them to use it offensively now. His ultimate is also receiving a little bit of a change here. Instead of the sweet spot, the middle of the ultimate, being buffed by 30%, it's now buffed by 50%. But the outside of his ultimate receives a slight damage nerf. Why are they doing this? Literally, why are they doing this? I don't even know, man. Why are they doing this? Then his self-heal is losing some of its base healing, but it now scales with 50% bonus AD. So for a champion who Riot said is in a good place and pretty well balanced and isn't much of an issue, they sure are buffing him at all. I don't think he needs to be buffed, and yet here we go. Here we go. Yay. We did it. We buffed Smolder. He now is scaling percent health true damage. That's probably a little bit illegal. We have Twisted Fate. What's going on with you, Mr. Fate? Mr. Fate, it looks like they actually nerfed him a little bit harder since the last time I looked at this. The bonus attack speed is going from 10 to 60% to 10 to 50% on his E. His E used to be 10 to 40%, so it looks like they're doing is just straight up not admitting that maybe this was a really stupid thing to do. Yeah. So he's now one of the most broken champions in the game. He's losing 10% attack speed, and his E, the on hit of his E, is going from 75% bonus AD to 20% bonus AD. So I don't actually understand this one, to be honest. Twisted Fate is so giga massively overpowered to an absurd degree. Literally being, and it's not even close, the best top laner in the game. While also performing very well in mid lane. While also performing extremely well in bot lane. Basically, Twisted Fate is one of the most broken champions in the game right now. So they're slightly reducing his damage on his E and slightly reducing the attack speed on his E. I do want to reiterate. I know I talked about this in my patch preview. Let me just say this. How stupid of a company are you? That's it. That's my statement. Let me ask you guys a question, and this is for chat. You know, you guys type your response here. What would you think of a champion who you have to build Ninja Tabby into, or he kills you in his stun, but you also need to build Mercury Treads into, or he kills you in his stun? Answer carefully now. You need both of them. Build Merc Treads? Great. His stun lasts for less. Also, he kills you. Build Ninja Tabby? Plated Steel Caps? Great. You can reduce his auto attacks, but now you eat 2-second stuns. I wonder why we don't give champions with extremely spammable CC physical damage that makes it extraordinarily hard to counter build them. It was a problem on Kosante, and it's a problem on Twisted Fate. You do not give champions with physical base damage spam CC, or they are extremely difficult to balance, and they're extremely difficult in top lane because no matter what you do, you're screwed. Yeah, I have nothing other to say than that. You really have screwed up, Riot. You are morons. Think anything through. Do an action and then think before like, before you complete the action you want to do, before you push AD Twisted Fate, stop and use your brain and think, if we buff AD Twisted Fate, what will this do? And use that brain and be like, apply brain power. Wait a minute, if we buff AD Twisted Fate, that will mean you will have to build plated steel caps and mercury treads into him. But you can't do both. Okay, Vayne is getting nerfed. Wow, shocker. Vayne's been overpowered for like 19 billion years. That's crazy. The Vayne, but at this point it's become clear that Vayne is far too strong, especially as a top laner. See, Riot operates on the disaster policy. Basically, they don't give a shit about something until it's a disaster. Vayne top has been broken for like 7 years now, but they don't give a shit because it's not a disaster. Once people finally just dropped their ego and started spamming Vayne top for free LP, Riot is suddenly like, oh, no, oh, geez, now we need to do something. We suddenly learned it's overpowered. What a weird catastrophe. I want to look at Vayne top. 52.7%, 53%, 52.0%, 51.99%. Last season, 51.74%. These are all basically the same win rates. Outside of an outlier, in 14.3, you can basically see she stays around 52% win rate in top the entire time. Okay? And this is last season. 13.24. This is last season. The only difference now is her pick rate has gone up and up and up and up because people are just saying, screw it, I'll drop my ego and just play this champion. Here's the thing. Riot themselves, through Freak, I'd go find the quote, but I can't find it. Through Freak, Riot themselves have said win rates don't really get reflected that much by pick rates because just because a champion is picked less doesn't mean that they get one tricked more. Most Vayne top players just randomly play the champion every so often, and that's all they do. They just every so often they play Vayne top. Nowadays, the reason her win rate continues to go up is A, the Kraken Slayer overbuff, and B, the fact that people are now actually putting the time into learning how to play Vayne, because shockingly, once you start tasting the free LP, you go, I'd like some more. I'd like some more. I want some of that free LP. Give me some more. And they start learning the champion, and they start learning how to space, and they start learning how to play. And all of a sudden, the same champion that's been overpowered for 22 trillion years is now a catastrophe. And now that it's a catastrophe, now we take action. Anyway, bonus movement speed on her passive going from 45 to 30. So, wait, but bonus movement speed during final hour will still be unchanged at 90. So during the laning phase, she can chase less, but during her ultimate, she can still run you down from full HP if you ever leave turret. Okay. Tumble cooldown's going from 4 to 2 to 6 to 2. I believe Tumble still out damages basically every on-hit auto attack in the game. And the fact that she can use it so easily, so readily, a bit of an issue there, Miss Riot. So, yep. Some slight changes for Vayne. I'd really like it if they absolutely obliterated the champion. Here's the problem with Vayne, and I've said this a lot in the past. The fundamental issue with Riot when it comes to understanding Vayne, Vayne is a top laner who's preferred in bot lane. Kind of like Seraphine. Despite being weaker in bot lane, Seraphine is very overpowered top lane. The problem here is that, unfortunately, we don't have a Rioter who plays top lane, so they don't really give a shit. I shit you not, Seraphine bot has less pick rate than Vayne. That's right, Seraphine bot is picked less times than Vayne top. But when it comes to Seraphine, we need to give it a complete rework to guarantee she never gets picked ever again, because that's so terrible. With Vayne top, it's, yeah, I guess we'll nerf her a little bit. Why not give her a rework? She is a top laner. She is a top laner who happens to go bot sometimes. If she is ever viable bot lane, she is overpowered in top lane. Oh no, but we can't rework Vayne. She's been so healthy for the game. Speaking of healthy for the game, Veigar! Yay. Okay. Veigar's Q AP ratio is going up from 45 to 65% to 50 to 70%. Veigar will now have a 70% AP ratio on his rank 5 Q. Veigar's ultimate is also going down in cooldown from 120 to 60 to 100 to 60. More ultimates, more Q damage, Papa John's. Veigar. Okay. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this one. I don't like it. Why don't I like it? Because I hate Veigar. You know, I'll be honest with you. I think Vex is just the more interesting Veigar anyway, if you want me to be blunt. I think that Vex is like a burst mage with more interesting abilities and stuff. Veigar is just funny one-shot man. So I don't like, I think of all the mages in the game, I don't hate Veigar as much as some other ones. He's definitely like more of the middle of the pack. I think I hate Vex the least because she's a burst mage who actually has weaker sustained damage, unlike other burst mages who like they burst you, then 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 burst you, and you're like, huh, when does this end? Vex actually has like very clear Vex is actually like very clear lower sustained damage, so I don't hate her as much. Now, what are they doing? Okay, her passive is being changed. The amount of damage she gets for not Gloom and Doom. Apparently, it's Doom and Gloom. Okay, Doom and Gloom has its base damage going up by 10 and its AP ratio up by 5%. So when you gap close around Vex and you get Gloom and Doom, or say Doom and Gloom on you, it'll do slightly more damage when she rips it out. Okay. Wukong is making a monkey out of the designers. Ha 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 ha. Okay, anyway. Wukongster. Okay. The amount of stacks from his passive is being nerfed from 10 to 5. Huge nerf. Champion is basically not even playable anymore, except the percent amplification per stack is going from 50% to 100%. Then the stack fall off rate is going from he loses all his stacks to they fall off one at a time. Okay, so what this should be, if I'm mathing the math at the top of my head, at max stacks on this patch, so the one, so I'm gonna say the previous patch to make it more simple. Okay, so max stacks on the previous patch, he could get up to 1,050% of his base armor at 10 stacks. Now he can, no, did I do that right? No, I'm an idiot. He could get up to 550. There we go. That makes more sense in my head. He could get to 550% of his armor, his base armor, at max stacks. Now he can get to 500%, but at only 5 stacks instead of 10. So the amount of stacks he gets is equal to the old 9 instead of 10, but now he can get them significantly quicker. In particular, he can get all the way to he already, if he ease it to an enemy, he already has 3 of his 5 stacks, right? So if he ease into an enemy level 1, he'll just open up at 15 bonus armor through hitting a minion, and the enemy champion. Okay, everybody get that? Okay, so definitely interesting changes here. Okay. Yorick is being changed a little bit. Let's see. So when he hits an enemy with an E, his ghouls will do only 20% damage instead of 30% damage. But his R is also being changed. Instead of 10 to 50 magic, or sorry, armor and magic resist, it'll be 30 to 90. But Maiden will no longer reduce AoE damage taken by 50%. Okay, that's basically the change. His E is getting nerfed and Maiden is being slightly changed. She'll be tankier to like auto attacks and single target stuff, but squishier to AoE stuff. Is this a good change? No, it's just pretty much seems like a pretty big nerf to Maiden. Fundamentally, it hasn't addressed the issue. If you want my opinion, I think what they need to do, I think they need to make it so that if Yorick hits an enemy with Q, that he gets healed and Maiden gets healed. Because the biggest issue with Yorick right now is that if you try to play Bruiser Yorick, if you don't do enough damage, enemies will just sprint past you and kill Maiden. And once Maiden is dead, your champion turns off. You're like, I'm Yorick, and then Maiden gets done, and you go, Arr. So it's kind of a problem. And having played a few games of Yorick, it's probably the biggest reason that Yorick isn't really even a viable champion. Because like he has to 100% build lethality. Because if he doesn't, they just run past him and kill Maiden. Like you can't do like tanky Bruiser Yorick, because they'll run past you and kill Maiden before you can kill them. And it's just, it's an issue with the champion, and there probably needs to be something addressed with it. I would like if Maiden was like 30 to 120 resistances as well. Because I don't think Maiden being squishier than Ashe is good either. Like if you can kill Ashe very easily in like one rotation, then you can kill Maiden very easily in one rotation, which does not work out well for game health. Okay. So I am like 100% positive that they skipped a patch note here. I'm like 100% positive. But maybe they didn't. I don't really know. They said they were gonna nerf Zac's healing, but now they're not nerfing his healing, and now they're just addressing his W damage. Is that the actual patch note, or is this like you know what I mean? Like I don't know. Is the healing no longer here, or is his healing getting nerfed anyway? Like I don't know. So anyway, his W damage is being adjusted from 35 to 95 to 40 to 80. I don't know if his healing is still getting nerfed. I don't think so if they're doing this. They're saying they're nerfing his W because top Zac maxes W. So they're going to nerf his W so top Zac gets less damage. Personally, I don't think top Zac was really a big deal. I think a lot of people are kind of like being dumb about it. I don't think top Zac was really a big deal. Yeah. Okay. Now we're on to our bi-weekly support item change. Yay! Okay. So Celestial Opposition has its cooldown reduced, its slow duration increased, and its slow strength increased. Which one was Celestial Opposition? Even Riot doesn't know. That was the damage reduction one? Yeah, okay. So this is the one that reduces the amount of damage that you take. So the damage reduction support item is being buffed. Lowered cooldown, increased slow duration, increased slow strength. Dream Maker. I don't even remember. This is the one that's got like bubbles. Yeah, it's got blue bubble and purple bubble. Okay, instead of Dream Maker getting the full amount right when you build it, it now scales. So instead of 140 blue bubble damage reduction, it's now 140, or instead of 140, it's now 75 to 255. So stronger late game, weaker early game. Purple bubble bonus damage, instead of 90 flat, is 50 to 170. Once again, stronger late game, weaker early game. Okay. Frozen Heart is being nerfed again. You know, I've talked about this so many times. I feel like those of you who watch my videos, you probably heard this rant enough. Like, you heard it like 3 times, so you don't need to hear it again. So I'm gonna go and do it again. Okay, the problem with Frozen Heart and the problem with Riot being dumb, stupid poo-poo heads. Let me go bring this up again. We're gonna have to do it again. I'm hoping by like tripling down on this, maybe Riot learns a lesson. They reduced its gold cost by 400, then reduced its armor by 400 gold of armor. How, you might ask? How is this not a net neutral change? Because the gold efficiency of an item does not affect its passive. It does not affect its passive effects, okay? So the problem is, as you can see here, Frozen Heart is 123% gold efficient. If you removed 100% of the gold efficiency from this item, then refunded all that gold, it would be a 0 gold item that still gave its passives and still gave some stacks. Most items are more gold efficient than 100%. Not all, but most. By reducing the cost of Frozen Heart from 2,700, the problem is these morons didn't realize you can now complete the item faster, get its passive faster, and oh no, you lose a little bit of armor. Who gives a shit? So now it does look like the armor of the item is going down and the gold cost of the item is going up. Is this a good idea? Probably not. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Frozen Heart is really even overpowered anymore. I think tanks are struggling really hard to be viable as is, and taking away like their only viable item is probably not a great idea, in my opinion. Okay. Heart Steel is being changed again. Instead of the proc damage being 100 flat, it's now 80 plus 12% health from items instead of 10%. So it will scale more on health from items, but give less baseline. Looks like, yeah, it'll break even at 1,000 health from items. So it'll be a little bit weaker if you straight bum rush it. But from then on, it should pretty much be a buff. Okay. Solstice Slay is another support item. Solstice Slay is being nerfed. This is the move fast support item that, like, yeah. So the heal is being changed from, instead of a 7% heal, it'll be 50 to 230. So it'll be I don't think that's, no, it'll be like a little bit weaker, but not really that much. I'm not sure why they're even doing that. The big thing is the cooldown is going up and the bonus movement speed is going down, which should hopefully help balance that item a bit more. Spirososian already got changes in patch 14.4. Apparently they hotfix nerfed it for a lot of champions. Don't know why, but they just did. Spells now grant a maximum of 1 stack per cast. That's it. Attack-based spells now add a stack and get their damage improved. So things like Aatrox's passive, Darius W, Garen Q, Jax W, those now add a stack and get their damage improved. Then they have a note here: damage from champion passives no longer grant stacks or focused will. The problem is Aatrox does stack it on his passive because it's counted as an attack-based spell. I don't know. Spells include passives, by the way. Abilities are QWER. Spells are QWER and your passive. Don't ask me why I know that. It just is a very, very weird niche rule that occurs every so often. It becomes important. Just every so often. Yeah, just so yeah. So far as what will this affect, it'll probably mean that it now affects like Darius bleed, I guess. I don't know. It definitely affects Darius's W. Will this make Spirosocian good on Darius? Probably not. Will it make it good on Garen? Yeah, actually probably it will. With Spirosocian stacking on his Q, affecting his Q, and affecting his E, and affecting his R, Garen gets a good amount of work from this. Yeah, and just to be clear, this was in patch 14.4, so don't, if you thought your champion wasn't doing good with it, these changes have already gone live, and it's been live for this entire patch. Sunfire Aegis is getting its weird nerf they did reverted. Sunfire Aegis got weirdly nerfed, and now they're undoing that weird nerf. I'm gonna be honest. Every single season, Riot thinks tanks are gonna be overpowered. Then every single season, tanks get worse. In fact, if I'm looking into it, I don't think with the nerf to Brosante, is there any tank doing good anymore? There's Volibear. It's literally just Volibear, right? With his super jank tank build. That's literally it. I'm trying to think, is there any other champion building tanky? Oh, by the way, no Gragas nerfs this patch. because Riot hates you. They hate you. They hate you. You specifically. They want Gragas to be the most broken top laner. For what reason, I cannot tell. Oh, Vayne got up to the 13th highest pick. Good job, Riot. We did it. So, let me look through here. Tanks. There's only Volibear with his jank tank build. Brosante's gone. Malphite's doing okay, I guess. I guess Zac, like Ornn is dead. I don't know how Ornn hasn't been buffed. That dude has been bad for as long as I can remember. Even last season, he was a negative win rate. For a dude who used to be the poster child of top lane, who used to be like the champion they wanted everyone to play, so you could play Ornn top, then buff your team and like be good and stuff. The dude's dead. Like, he's literally unplayable dead. And Riot isn't doing shit about it. Okay. Lich Bane is getting nerfed. Its AP ratio is going down. Storm Surge is getting more movement speed. And Rocket Belt is getting more ability power for more price. It's gaining 200 gold of ability power for 100 gold. So this is definitely, in my opinion, probably a buff. Some people could argue that Rocket Belt being giga cheap is better, but you are still getting 100 gold of free stats, and it is still cheap enough that it should be fine. Okay, there's some ARAM stuff. There's some bug fixes. Okay, I did notice this. Fixed a bug that caused Profane Hydra's passive AoE to proc lifesteal. I knew it, dude. I was playing Aatrox and I was playing Kled with Profane Hydra, and you might have noticed I would never sell my Doran's blade, because if I ever got to mid game, it wasn't like a lot. It wasn't like, oh my god, but you would start healing like 30-40 health with your Profane Hydra autos on a minion wave. And it was actually like not like, oh my god, it's amazing, but it was like a decent way to actually keep your health up. Yeah, kind of weird. Fixed a bug that caused Diana to sometimes be able to triple dash with her E. And I'm sure at some point I complained about her doing that and everyone told me that I was stupid. There's one bug with Aatrox that has me worried because they didn't list the second part of it. Where is it? It's right in here, and this will be the last thing I go over, I think. Fixed a bug that caused Aatrox's passive proc to reduce its own cooldown. They said they were going to reduce Aatrox's passive by 2 seconds cooldown, because right now Aatrox procs his own passive on his passive, so it's at 2 seconds less cooldown. So they were going to make his passive no longer proc itself, but then reduce its cooldown by 2. What would that change? Literally nothing. Literally nothing would be changed. But I'm not seeing the second part of the patch note here, so now I'm a little bit worried that they're not going to be reducing its cooldown and just sort of like stealthing in a nerf here. Fixed a bug that caused Sion to be able to stack his passive on Void Mites. I think Sion was probably a little bit overpowered, so this little thing he could sometimes do to sometimes get HP was probably a bad idea. He could sometimes even once be playable, so it's a good thing we fixed that. Okay, now let's look at upcoming skins. Upcoming skins in program. Project Gangplanken. Why didn't we buff Gangplank before releasing it? That's weird. We could have gotten way more skin sales if we buffed him randomly. Don't we normally do that? I think Gangplank's overdue for a random mid-season skin buff. I don't know. I mean, if it's actually got like a blaster and it sounds like a blaster, that'd be cool. If they don't have sound effects, it's useless. But if it goes like pew, I'd like that. You know, that'd be cool. Project Jax. Wait, what? Don't we have a Robot Jax skin? And now we have 2. Okay. Project Nefiri. I mean, Robo-Dog could be cool, I guess. It's a Robo-Dog. Let's see them in game. You can tell I'm thoroughly underwhelmed by this once again. Dude, I'm not even doing this intentionally. If his skin was cool, I'd talk it up. Okay. Like I don't like week after week after week. I don't mean to be like you know, talking down their skins every week. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to do that, is what I'm trying to say here. Okay. So project game blank. Kind of looks boring in game. It's probably just gonna all be about the blaster, right? Like if the blaster, but it's just boring. It's no. Project Jax. I mean, the only reason I kind of like it is it's Jax without a hat, I guess. Other than that, kind of boring. I don't really know a better way to describe it. It's just kind of boring. Am I wrong? Am I right? It's like okay. It probably has cool sound effects, right? Animations maybe. Project Neferi. I do like Robodog. I'll be honest, I do like Robodog. It reminds me of Metal Gear Revengeance, yeah. Actually, it kind of doesn't. I guess it kind of doesn't actually. It reminds me that it would remind me of that, but it doesn't actually remind me of that. Okay, well, there we go. That's this entire patch. What do we got up next? Well, Patreon. Thank you to all my loyal Patreon fans. If you like me and you want me to continue to pay my rent, then you can give me money. How can you do that? Now you can with Patreon. Giving me Patreon money is very good because it helps me a lot, actually. Like a lot. So then I get, you know, money and then I don't die. Anyway, what do we got here? Let's read this top to bottom. We have Stefan Ortman, Deep the Heretic, T the Fish, Amzarine, Blazenrock, Christoph Marks, Genny Shelbert, Monica, Pantro Rodriguez, Tenshi Kanashisa, Destroy, Sebastian, Ben, it's like Sebastian. It's like Sebastian, but it has no T, so it's Sebastian. Okay. Ben G, Creador, Daniel Fiala, Yadgod, Ferdinator, Fanaku, Fulyuki, Hansen, Hoon Arthur, Yanfish, James Cook, Jordan Penning, Calfo Zeramar, Kian, Kijubai, Ludwig III, Manuel, Metal M. Morgan, Nathaniel Mingham, Negative KDA, OMG Clover, Oz, PBNJ, Redaddy, RevGen, Scorpion, Suki02, Terra, Uvo Plaja, Vivian, WLC League of Legends, Wolfman, and Jan. Thank you all of you for being on my Patreon. You, go to my Patreon link and subscribe to my Patreon. I'm not playing. I'm threatening. I guess that's it for this patch. Not much else to go over. All right. Well, thank you all for watching. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.